Hello, everybody, and welcome after a long layoff. Me and Brandon were just talking about it. Rasslin and Racin brought to you by Beef and Rib in Westminster, South Carolina. We appreciate Donnie and Angie and everything they do. Of course, they also are the owners of Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina. And you can come see me there starting on Wednesdays and Fridays. I will be up there. And, of course, Beef and Rib, I'm there on Tuesdays. So, appreciate everything Donnie and Angie do for us at Arden Spring Grill and also at Beef and Rib in Westminster. Make sure you go by there, meet in 3. Oh man, I'm telling you, they have been packed. You will get a great meal. Also, we want to thank, of course, Pepsi Cola. We want to thank Redbubble.com. Go to the Furman Joust collection, and you will get, as you see what I'm wearing here, the Rasslin and Racing gear. You need to get that gear. You'll love it. And then, of course, we also want to thank the Point RV at Lake Hartwell. That's where I actually stay at. I enjoy it. I tell you right now, you need to see Kim up there at Point RV at Lake Hartwell. You can actually live up there permanently year round. That's right, folks. You can do that. And also, we want to thank Hyundai of Anderson. Use code HOA24. Go by see Herschel and the gang. They will give you a great deal at Hyundai of Anderson. Well, without further ado, we're going to bring in the man with a plan. He is, in his words, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment today. We are talking about Ref Brandon. How's it going, Brandon?
Fantastic, Jay, because you can't spell awesome without me.
I knew you was going to have a comeback for that one. All right. Well, Brandon, first of all, tell us what you've been up to this past weekend. I know you've been busy the last 3 weeks, but let's just go with this weekend.
Well, Sunday I had a show at the Royston Dome. It was called Scrappy Championship Wrestling. It was that promotion's third show, I think. I believe that's right, but it was my first time refereeing for them. They're going to start running every other month, at least for the time being, and for the foreseeable future, they're going to be running at the Royston Dome. So I was there yesterday. Our old buddy Jacob Ashworth was on the card yesterday. They had 8 matches all together. As me and Ref Slim, who refereed the show yesterday, and it started at 3 o'clock. So I was able to do the show and then get home in time to watch the Clash last night. And this upcoming Saturday, I'm going to be in East Denali, Georgia for SWA Wrestling. The show is called Reloaded, and we're going to have a Battle Royal, and we're going to have a cage match, and we're going to have a ladder match coming up at SWA Saturday night.
Wow, there you go, fans. Definitely get out, support your local independent wrestling, and go by and especially go out and see Ref Brandon and all the gang down at the Pro Wrestling Joints in Georgia. All right, Ref, we missed out, and folks, I'm going to take responsibility for it. It wasn't Ref's fault. It was me. I just had so much going on. But we're going to start with NASCAR. That's right. NASCAR started this weekend. And Ref, tell us a little bit about what happened this weekend.
Well, I was excited about the Clash, and normally I try to at least watch some of it because it is NASCAR, but it's basically NASCAR's preseason, so the race doesn't mean anything. So I usually just have it on as background noise, and I'll look up in case something happens. But this year I was determined I was going to watch the whole thing because I was determined it was going to be a good race. And it was supposed to start at 8:30, ended up running late because of the last chance qualifying race before that ran late, so didn't get started till about 8:45. But it was a fantastic race, and they ran 200 laps, but as short as that track was, they ran 200 laps and had basically a halftime after 100 laps, and it was still over at 10:20. So it was very fast, but Bowman Gray Stadium, according to the dimensions that they list on Google, is almost the same exact size, if not the same size, as the LA Coliseum they've been at the last couple of years. But when you watch it on TV, it looked a lot smaller and it looked a lot more narrow. So it was impossible to pass without beating and banging. So it was a very, very exciting race. And NASCAR for now has not said where they're going to be at next year for the Clash. But if they don't go back to Bowman Gray Stadium, there's a problem because, the stadium is so small it can only hold like 17,000 people. So it was, a complete sellout. But it was so loud you'd have thought there was 170,000 people. It was loud from start to finish, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
But you don't hardly ever see people get that loud for basically a practice race. So you could tell the fans there wanted NASCAR there, and the race was absolutely amazing. The only thing that sucked was who won it. But outside of that, it was a phenomenal race, and I'm very excited about it. And I know NASCAR is, trying to go different places for the Clash. That's why they went to the LA Coliseum, and now they're going to Bowman Gray Stadium. But somehow, some way, Bowman Gray Stadium needs to be on the schedule again next year, whether it's the All-Star race, the Clash, or whatever. It needs to be on the schedule.
I kind of agree with you. I think it was just a solid atmosphere. The bit of the race that I got to see, because I was busy doing some other things, but it was an awesome atmosphere. I enjoyed it. I thought it was weird at first when I didn't see an infield. Everything was grass other than, they had to go outside to do their thing. I like this idea. But I think NASCAR, what they're trying to do with the Clash is make it go to states that are places that they normally would never go. And I've already heard that there's talks about having a race up in Maine and race up in Idaho. I mean, it looks like they're going to try to gain fans in different states by using the races that don't count for anything, which would, of course, like you said, would be the Clash or the All-Star race.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, they're going to Mexico City for the first time, this year. I think NASCAR is doing a very good thing by branching out and going different places. A lot of people are mad about them going to Amazon Prime, although it's only 5 races for now. But only 68 million people have cable. But there's 180 million people that have Amazon Prime. So by going to Amazon Prime, you're going to be seen by more people. So it only makes sense to go to the network that has more folks watching it. I think over time you're going to see more and more races on Amazon Prime. But for this year, it's just 5. But it'll be more in the future.
All right, well, we got to start the season off, and Ref, we got to get our picks in who we think's going to do it this year. You get we're just going to put it this way. We're going to put it as who you think's going to win the championship, who your dark horse is, and who you hope just does not, make it at all. So give me your 3 guys this year.
Who do I think wins the championship? Well, it's an odd number year, so it definitely won't be Joey Logano. Logano's 3 championships have all come in even numbered years, so throw him out. Who do I think wins it? I'll go with Kyle Larson. I hope I'm wrong, but that's who I think will win it. Who do I hope wins it? Kyle Busch.
I was about to say I knew where that was. Well, that's your dark horse, in other words, right?
Yeah, and who do I hope just does nothing this year is Denny Hamlin.
I knew that was coming. All right, well, of course, who I hope doesn't do it this year, I cannot stand Alex Bowman. Guy's never done nothing to me. That 48 car, if it wasn't Jimmy Johnson, it's Bowman. I just don't like the 48 car. I don't care who gets in it. I hope none of the drivers I like drives that car. The 48 car, I just can't stand it. So Alex Bowman's the car I don't want to go. My dark horse this year, give me Eric Jones. Why not? You know what? I think there's a possibility that Eric Jones could be pretty good this year. And the guy I hope wins it, give me Tyler Reddick. I picked him last year. I'm picking him this year. Give me Tyler Reddick, even though Ross Chastain is my guy. This year I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to go Eric Jones is my dark horse. I'm going to go Tyler Reddick as my champion, and I'm going to go the 48 car, who, regardless who's driving at the end of the year, I don't want that driver in there.
I'll tell you, I don't know what it is about not just Eric Jones, but the whole Legacy Motorsports as a company. They just have not done anything at all. I mean, last year, John Nemechek may have actually ran a little better than Eric Jones, but I mean, they both were just terrible all year long. So that whole company needs to do something because they've just been an absolute embarrassment. They were awful last year.
Well, they got some new crew chiefs, so hopefully that'll help them out. Like I said, I was going to go Chastain as my dark horse, but I decided to go Eric Jones. Why not?
Because, I think the reason why Eric Jones signed with them is because he lost his ride at Gibbs, and I think he thought, I'm going to go to the 43 car, and I'm going to go do good, and I'm going to get a bigger ride. And so far, he's done nothing to warrant needing a different ride.
Yeah. All right, well, folks, we're going to switch gears, and now let's go to what has been known as one of the best. This was actually, I think, Ref, one of the best Royal Rumbles I've ever watched. As far as the Rumbles, I could care less about the 2 out of 3 falls match. I really didn't enjoy the Cody Rhodes Kevin Owens match. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't anything to write home about. It was just your typical ladder match to me. You might think differently, but let's just kind of go through what we got. The first match, of course, was the Women's Royal Rumble. And I tell you what, I actually enjoyed the Women's Royal Rumble this year. There wasn't as many bad misses as you would get in a Rumble. A lot of times there's a lot of bad spots, but I think the women actually pulled it off pretty good. Several surprises. What was your thoughts on it, Brandon? With the winner being, of course, as we probably figured it would be, the returning queen, Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, the woman whose face looks completely different. Yeah, she won. And, I even made a prediction on my YouTube video last week, and I picked her to be the winner because, at first it was going to be a surprise. They weren't going to announce it. So I kind of wasn't expecting her to win because nobody expects you to be there. So if you don't win, not a big deal. But when they came out and said she was going to return in the Rumble, I said, well, she's going to win the match. So the only thing I hated about it was the fact that I knew before it started Charlotte was going to win it. But outside of that, I thought it was really good. But I thought the Women's Rumble the last couple of years has been better than the Men's Rumble. This year, I don't know if I had to pick one over the other, which one I would pick. They were both really good. But the last couple of years, I thought the women's was better than the men's. So I didn't expect this year to be any different. I just hated that. That was the only match on the card where I pretty much knew who was going to win. The men's I wasn't sure about. The tag team match I wasn't sure about. Even the ladder match I would have understood if Kevin Owens won the belt. But the women's match I knew it was going to be Charlotte. But outside of the winner being predictable, I thought the match itself was fantastic.
Yeah, some of the big spots in this. Alexa Bliss returning. I tell you what, I wasn't expecting that, but boy, I'm so glad she's back. I missed Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, it seemed like she'd been gone, forever, because at first they took her out of the Wyatt thing for whatever reason, and then they said she was going to come back, and then she got pregnant, and then she was out for that, and then they said she was ready to come back, and she just never did show back up. So you're starting to wonder, is she ever going to come back? And then finally Saturday she showed back up.
Alexa Bliss, Jordan Grace had a great spot in the Royal Rumble. Roxanne Perez. I mean, there were Trish Stratus returned, and one I wish they wouldn't have brought back, Nikki Bella. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not a Nikki Bella fan. I think they could have brought back Molly Holly or somebody else and put in that spot. I really think that was a waste of a spot with Nikki Bella. I mean, I'm sorry, I just feel that way.
I don't like either one of them, never have, but Nikki says she wants to come back full time. So if that's the case, I kind of understand why they picked her, because it wasn't a one-off. She's actually, according to her, going to be back for at least a short period of time.
Yeah. All right, the next match we had was Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, DIY. They defeat the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, due to outside interference in the third fall by our guys that seem to have left, of course, the Hurt Foundation and are on their own. They acted like they were injured and ended up beating the fool out of both teams when it was all said and done. They helped Ciampa and Gargano win the match, and then as they were behind them, nailed them on the rampway. So, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, I hope they do something with the Street Profits. I mean, I'm not personally a big fan of them, but, when they first got called to the main roster, they pushed them like crazy, and they won the tag team belts. And ever since then, they've just been kind of lost in limbo. Like, they're there and they're gone, they're there and they're gone. Then it looked like for a while they were going to split them up and let Montez Ford go solo, and then all of a sudden they're back together again. So maybe they're finally going to push them this time as that heel tag team they've been talking about for about 2 years now. But I thought DIY Machine Guns had a great match up until that point. I don't think that was needed, but I guess that was a way to show the Profits are back and back for good. But I think I picked DIY to win the match, but honestly, the Machine Guns winning wouldn't have surprised me at all. Those are two fantastic tag teams, but Machine Guns, I don't know how much longer they've got left. They've been tag teaming together for a long time, but they're still really, really, really good.
Yeah, they move like they're a young team, that's for sure. The WWE's tag team division is got a lot to be desired by. They keep throwing teams together, and the teams that have been there for a while just don't seem to get the push. It's going to be interesting. I think tag team wrestling as a whole has got some issues. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, they've done that for a while in, WWE. It used to be every time a tag team, would get together and win the belts once or twice, they would split up. And rumor was always that Vince McMahon just didn't like tag team wrestling. Vince thought the tag team wrestling was useless. So he always took the one he thought was a bigger star and made him solo. But Vince is not there anymore, and it's still pretty much the same way. I mean, they've got some great tag teams like the War Raiders, but they don't use them properly. They've had the Profits there for about 4 years now on the main roster. For 2 years, they've done absolutely nothing. So they've got tag teams, they just don't use the ones they have, and I don't understand, why tag team wrestling is not big anymore, because back in the 70s and 80s, man, tag team wrestling was a big thing.
Yep. Well, I personally, if they're going to throw some guys together, I tell you a tag team that would be a dream tag team for me, and I want your thoughts on this. Damian Priest and Karrion Kross.
I think they have potential to be a great tag team, but Karrion Kross has got to find some charisma somewhere. But as far as in-ring potential as a tag team, they'd be fantastic. But Karrion Kross, and you can feel it when he comes out on TV. He's like, as soon as he walks out, you just feel the air like a balloon going flat. And until he finds what happened to his charisma, he ain't doing nothing. But if he could find his charisma, they would be a fantastic tag team. They're both really good, and they're both really big, and they both move well to be such big men.
I think it'd be like the second coming of the Brothers of Destruction.
Yeah, could be.
All right, and we leave that and we go to the ladder match won by Cody Rhodes over Kevin Owens. We did find out after this match that Cody was injured. We don't know how bad or how long he's going to be out. All that they know is that he will not be at Raw tonight.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday, but it didn't say, what kind of injury it was. I hope it's not bad where Cody has to give up, the belt that he finally chased all these years. But until they say what the injury is, you can only assume that it's not serious, but you don't know.
Yep, and this match, I mean, it was good, but to me, it just didn't push the needle. Does that make sense? I gave it a B because I don't know. These ladder matches are just, it's almost like the same match, just different guys.
Yeah, they're getting where they're doing the gimmick matches too much. I mean, they're not as bad as AEW, where every single episode of TV is a gimmick match in every match. But it used to be back when I was growing up. A ladder match was a once-a-year thing. A tables match was a once-a-year thing. And now it's getting where every premium live event is going to have at least one gimmick match of some sort. So when you do them that much, that often, you can only do so many things differently. After a while, you're out of ideas. The only thing I didn't like about the one Saturday, the match itself was good, but it could have been a one-on-one match. The only thing I didn't like about it was the spot where they had both men in opposite corners appearing to be injured, and Sami Zayn comes down and goes and checks on Cody, and goes to check on Kevin, and goes to check on Cody, goes to check on Kevin, to where they're making it look like they're making Sami Zayn pick a side. I didn't understand that whole spot at all. It made no sense to me. But outside of that, I thought the match was okay, but I think it could have just been a regular one-on-one match.
Yeah, it just had some moments that made you think twice. And then, of course, the main event was the Men's Royal Rumble, and honestly, I love this Royal Rumble, this particular Rumble. Unlike we talked about last year's just seemed like it was already choreographed. This year, I had an idea that this was going to happen. I told many people. I didn't get a chance to talk with you. Now, I did not have Jey Uso, but I did not have everybody's the ones that everybody was screaming, which was Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins. I didn't have none of them. I thought it was going to be somebody that wasn't one of the four. And I thought it would be somebody that was going to go after Gunther, because I really felt like that Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns in this Royal Rumble were going to go after each other, and I was right on that subject right there. I was wrong about the person who won the Rumble, but I was right on this particular thing. This is leading up, I think, to what's going to be a crazy elimination chamber, and what I really think is going to be Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, which leaves CM Punk to take on Cody Rhodes if he's still around at WrestleMania. Tell me your thoughts, Ref, on Jey Uso. I think Uso deserves it, even after losing to Gunther at Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, I was happy he won, only because I don't think anybody expected. I think everybody either thought it was going to be CM Punk or Seth Rollins or the returning John Cena. So I think it was unexpected for Jey Uso to win. And I have no problem with Jey Uso winning. The only thing that I don't like about it is I personally don't see them giving Jey Uso a world championship. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't think Jey Uso is main event world title material. But I also didn't think Cody was main event material, and he's champion. I just don't think Jey is a world champion material. And if he's not, then putting him in that spot at WrestleMania to me is a waste of a match, when I just don't see Jey winning the belt. But if he's not going to win it, then it's wasting a match. But him winning the belt, I don't think it's a good idea, because I just don't see Jey making money as a world champion. But maybe I'm wrong.
Well, this is now, folks, I'm going to just tell you my idea on this. And Ref, you comment if you feel. I see Jey going to WrestleMania and beating Gunther for the world title. And this is my only thing. I think what they're going to plan on, and this is just my idea, is Gunther loses the world title to Jey Uso. And then next thing you know, at SummerSlam, Gunther is fighting the WWE champion, undisputed champion, whether it be CM Punk or whoever, for the WWE title. I don't see Gunther leaving the top spot matches, but I think that they need to progress him against Cody, CM Punk, or Roman, or Seth Rollins.
Well, Gunther should have both heavyweight belts because he's the man. But I understand Jey winning the belt because, winning the Rumble, because he has so many fans behind him now. He's very, very over with the crowd.
He's marketable.
Yeah, but I just don't see Jey Uso as a world champion. Maybe I'm wrong, but if he gets the belt, to me, it's going to be it's going to be like a Jinder Mahal, Jack Swagger flop. It's just not going to work. He's just not a world champion. That's just my opinion, though. But I had no problem with him winning because of the fact it was unexpected. But the thing I liked about this year's Rumble with the men was the last 3-4 years, they've waited till you've got 15, 16, 17 guys in the MAC before you see eliminations. And that makes it hard to watch because when you've got that many guys in the ring, all you can do is punch and kick because there's no room to move. So it makes it almost unbearable to watch. This year, after they got about halfway, it was like 6 or 7 guys in the ring the whole time. So they actually had a chance to get in the ring and actually wrestle in a rumble. So it made it a whole lot more enjoyable to watch. And then I felt bad for, what was his name? They showed his name, but I don't know who he was. I am Speed, or I show Speed, or whatever his name was. They took that doggone Braun Breaker spear. He about got broken in half, poor fella.
Oh, Speedball?
Well, yeah, whatever. He was supposed to be Akira Tozawa when he got attacked on the stage and didn't make it in the ring. And then they showed some guy backstage. Triple H told him to go get in the ring, and his name came on the screen. It was something Speed. He's supposed to be a YouTube sensation, but I've never heard of the guy. And it was I Am Speed or I Show Speed or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was number 8. He just got destroyed by Braun Breaker. About broke the kid in half. I felt bad for that guy.
What's your thoughts real quick on Logan Paul?
Well, I've told you, I've told anybody that listens, I think Logan Paul is a phenomenal wrestler. If you didn't know wrestling and just all of a sudden started watching it one night and saw Logan Paul, you would think he's been wrestling 10 years. He caught on so fast. He's just a natural born athlete who was born to be a wrestler. But so many people have already decided that they don't like Logan Paul for whatever reason, and so they won't put their personal feelings aside and just enjoy his wrestling. But he is an amazing wrestler. But because of his YouTube channel, stuff he did years ago when he was younger, people have decided they can't stand Logan Paul. So anything Logan Paul does that's good, I think is bad for business because everybody hates him. But they would put their personal thoughts aside, just watch the man wrestle. He's an amazing in-ring wrestler. Amazing talent.
Well, Ref, it's been a great show. It went faster than I thought it would be. I thought, it would take a little bit longer to go through some of the stuff we went through. But it's definitely going to be a fun year. Tell us where you're going to be at this coming weekend.
I'm going to be at 244 Livestock Road, Easton Ollie, Georgia, for SWA Wrestling. Reloaded. Doors open at 6 o'clock. Bell time is 7 o'clock. And we're going to have a battle royal, a cage match, and a ladder match. And let me make my early WrestleMania predictions. You're going to see John Cena versus Logan Paul. You're going to see Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. You're going to see Jey Uso against Gunther. And you're going to see Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley.
Ooh, I had Charlotte versus Tiffany because I think that there has to be a handing off of the torch. I think Charlotte's getting towards the end of her career. Everybody knows it. And I think she beats Tiffany, and then Tiffany turns around and beats her back at SummerSlam. And I think that's kind of where we start leading to this being the last year, or maybe even next year being the last year of Charlotte Flair.
I wish she would retire, but I don't think she's going to retire no time soon.
Oh, mercy. All right, well, Ref, we appreciate you. Tell everybody where they can find you on YouTube.
Ref Brandon and the Todd family. Just make sure you spell out the word and it is 6 words. Generally, once you type up Ref Brandon, the rest just pops right up. But I post just about every day unless I'm covering high school basketball or football and I get home late one night. But I do college football, wrestling, basketball, baseball, NASCAR.
All right. Well, everybody, we appreciate you listening to Rasslin and Racin, brought to you by Beef and Rib of Westminster, South Carolina, Orangeburg and Grill of Central South Carolina, The Point RV at Lake Hartwell, and also we want to thank you, Also, we want to thank quickly Pepsi Cola, Upstate Physical Therapy, and we also want to thank Hyundai of Anderson. Use code HOA24. Go by see Herschel and the team over there at Hyundai of Anderson. They will treat you right. Thanks for listening to the Rasslin Racing Podcast, and we'll see you next Monday right here.